And they're getting into game number 1 right now. Thank you for your patience on this one. But now we finally get some gameplay. Kranich versus JAB is happening right now, and Kranich is playing for that playoff hope.
Again, he's one of those players, not only does he have to win here tonight, but he has to wait for Caldy's match.
Oh gosh, you just have to sweat it out the entire step of the way. Normally I hate shaman choices, but if this is going to be the way that JAB branches out, by all means.
And you can see he's almost grinning here a little bit, that's a lot. That's a big smile for him. I feel like he might be trying to have a little fun here tonight as well.
Yeah, Kranich is, this is interesting. He's brought Mech Mage, which I don't disagree with this choice. I think it's just fantastic versus what JAB normally does. But as usual, there's that little Kranich twist. You know, Unstable Portal finds its way in here from time to time. I would be shocked, though, if Kranich was playing a Mage deck without Unstable Portal.
Yeah, I would actually be shocked as well. Now, I actually like this from JAB, kind of branching out here because, this match, it doesn't mean too much for him. There's seeding involved, but, he might not care about that. He might be like, whoever I play is whoever I play. And he knows that his methods of playing the game are gonna win. He knows what he can do to do well. But now he gets to practice other methods in a competitive setting. You don't always get this playing on ladder. You don't get the same kind of feel for games. You don't get the same kind of competition. Now he's getting to do that.
Right now you're playing against somebody whose specific purpose is to beat you. When you're playing against a teammate, that's not always 100% the case. Again, you get a very competitive match, but it's a sense of someone that you know how they play, you know their style. Try this against someone you're unfamiliar with. Yeah,
and you might see Kranich take his time on a lot of plays tonight because there's just so much at stake here.
Yeah. So if he attacks this Nerubian Egg, obviously Frostbolt is on his mind.
I don't know if I like that play though, because it makes your next turn so bad. I mean, you have hero power and then what?
That's what he's struggling with right now, though. I mean, you take a look at what else he has available. When your opponent plays turn 1 Nerubian Egg, you have to think about Flametongue Totem. You have to think about Rockbiter Weapon. Those are the two major ones that are on your mind.
Wow.
Pit Lord is an interesting one. I actually don't think it's that bad in this situation because JAB is just not going to be applying a ton of pressure. He's working on trying to kill all your minions. A 5/6 is pretty tough to just swing at and kill.
Yeah, and you can see Kranich kind of having a hard time with that decision because he knows that this egg is so valuable from JAB. One Rockbiter Weapon can do so much to him.
Yep.
And that's a 5/6.
Yep, JAB is kind of nodding his head like, okay, didn't expect that. I've never played against this card before.
Yeah. If you haven't played Arena, you probably haven't played this card before.
I have played Arena, and I haven't played against this card before.
I've played some Pit Lords. I've played some Pit Lords.
Of course you have. You disgust me.
It's not that good.
You mean a 4-mana 5/6 that deals yourself 5 damage isn't any good, Tannen?
I have a 12-win deck with a Pit Lord in it. It was very aggressive. He topped out my curve.
I had a 12-win deck, sick brag. Kranich, not the situation I think he was envisioning. Rockbiter Weapon, very, very good when you have a Nerubian Egg out. This is one of the biggest plays that Shaman can get at this stage in the game. You look at this board now. What's JAB doing in the next couple turns, and how do I fight back against that?
Yeah, I think what you're going to see, Kranich most likely do here is take care of the Nerubian, take care of one of the Spider tokens, then develop some of his board. Maybe play Snowchugga, maybe play Mech Warper, whichever one he deems is better here. But you're going to see him try to keep this board state under control here as much as possible. Because, yeah, I was going to say, playing 2 minions is not bad either, but it kind of leaves your Pit Lord out to dry.
I actually don't mind reversing switching the Pit Lord in this spot.
Yeah, that might be something he's thinking about doing here as well, because he just wants the board to stay under control as long as possible until turn 7 when he gets to Dr. Boom.
That's really interesting. I actually really like that. So Pit Lord has now been turned into Stormwind Commander, Stormpike Commander.
Yeah, it needs charge, but yeah.
Yeah, what's the 2/5? I don't even remember that guy's name.
This guy yells to Northrend when he comes into play,
No,
right?
No, that's Argent Commander.
Oh, it's Argent Commander.
The other guy's just for the king.
Yeah, he's for the king.
He's
that's right. Yeah.
Very bland and stale and.
Hey, that card's good.
Good. 40 fingers. Pretty easy turn for JAB. Really, the only play he's got is the Defender of Argus here.
Yeah, and with this Loatheb draw, he's actually going to fall pretty far behind on board state here now.
Still a little bit of a tough decision for Kranich, though. Obviously you want to get the Loatheb out, but you would love to be able to get some clean attacks as well.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like Frostbolt here. It's not. I mean, like, if you Frostbolt, what do? You take care of the Defender of Argus, you get 2 damage on both your minions. It's not an amazing turn. I think you just have to develop here.
Exactly. So, matching Loathebs for JAB. And even able to pick off this Mech Warper. Gotta feel good.
Yeah, I can't leave that guy sitting around. You get too much value off that card. And
ugly draw.
Yeah, here's a problem I have with some of these decks. For every great opening they have, you draw a Mana Worm on turn 7 or 8 or 9, and it just feels so bad.
This is very akin to the situation JAB was in yesterday with Hero Power Pass.
Yeah, we've seen some bad 5 and 6 turns from Jab lately, but that's just because, you know, the way his draws have been panning out, what his opponents have been doing against him.
Yeah, Fire Elemental great in the spot. Jab, unfortunately, though, likely to be trading, so he is fighting from behind a little bit. But given his hand right now and given Kranich's hand, it looks to me like he's about to stabilize.
Well, he would be stabilizing if it wasn't for this Dr. Boom. I mean, this guy's gonna, you know, reign supreme on this board, but great play from Jab here to get control of this board again. This is what we talked about. These guys, they each like to control the board. There's gonna be a lot of minions dying in this matchup. There's gonna be a lot of fighting going on here.
With 9 points of burn in hand, Kranich is actually looking pretty darn close to ending this one. And this is one of the biggest problems that we've seen with Shaman all season long, is the inability to handle someone who turns the corner at a pretty easy spot.
Yeah, now, Jab has a couple options here. None of them are amazing. You know, you don't know what the Crackle is going to do for you. You got to believe he kind of wants to get this Defender of Argus in play. He can even Azure Drake before his Crackle to ensure some extra spell damage. He's got a ton of options. You have to figure out what he wants to do, because if he like rolls a totem and uses Defender of Argus, he could, you know, trade for the Dr. Boom and then hope his totem can hold off just enough. But then from there, like, how do you regain this board as well?
You know, I'm looking at this and I'm trying to figure out the right spot to go. I think that trying to crit the Crackle may be his best actual chance.
Yeah, so if you just lead off of Crackle, you don't play Azure Drake first?
Oh, no, you have to Azure Drake because you have to crit the Crackle on the Dr. Boom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty all-in play, though. We don't normally see that kind of play from Jab too often, but you never know. He might actually YOLO since, you know, he's in this part of the season. But yeah, don't hate this play as well. He might just use the Defender to trade up here.
Yep. Oh my gosh, he would have crit.
Yeah.
Oh, the time was nigh, Jab.
I like this play, actually. Just leaves him with a 2-3 versus 2 boom bots, and then, you know, Kranich has a couple cards left over, but he knows that he can't take a lot of damage. These decks always run Fireball and Frostbolt.
Yep. Man, can you imagine if he would have gone for that? I think he actually would have won this game if he would have landed that, but again, it's 25% chance, and if it fails, he's just dead.
Yeah, and then, not to mention, I mean, how bad is this board state? This is actually not terrible.
Kranich gonna go ahead and use Frostbolt here, continue to try to get repetitive damage out of these minions. But this game is closing in fast on Jab. You know, he's fallen to 14 this turn. He's staring at 2 boom bots. None of these are very easy to kill for his hand right now. Hex looks miserable on this board. You know, what other options does he have? He just has to Azure Drake, I think, and, well, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that was not a bad one at all. That's going to take a lot of damage off the board here, actually.
Boombots are still looming, though. Oh, no.
That was a pretty good draw here from Kranich. This might allow him to either just take out the Azure Drake if he gets all 4 shots, but most likely these Boombots are going to get to trade in very well.
Wow.
Perfect one from Kranich here.
That is pretty darn good. Yep, Hero Power is an easy one here. No reason to invest the Boombots. If these guys are chipping away, let them keep going.
Yeah, keep the repetitive damage until you need to run him into something. I mean, he's got more than lethal in his hand.
So Hex going to start things off. But again, these Boombots, they've been adding up to a lot of damage.
You know, this is the most damage I think I've ever seen Boombots do without actually exploding. I don't think I've ever seen Boombots get in 3 or 4 damage before, just attacks.
I mean, it's pretty rare. I mean, most of the popular hero powers will deal with this. A lot of decks have very easy ways to clean up 1 health minions. Shaman is really relying on its scaling power, and it isn't here this game.
Yep, like the hero power, just attack phase here. You know, you have a fireball in your hand. They normally can't, you know, heal very well in Shaman, so.
Ooh, maybe a little bit of hope.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to do this, you're going to see him roll a totem and get the Flamestone Totem in play. Well, maybe he thinks this is the only way to win, is to have the Flamestone Totem survive here.
He's going to need 2 1-damage things to hit, and not his face.
Yeah, I mean, this is another problem, too. I mean, this is a Mirror Entity, so he can give him a 0-power minion here. So it actually kind of plays around the Mirror Entity pretty well.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a bad one.
It's still fine, though.
Yeah, it's better than going to the dome, for sure.
Yeah. Jab's going to get in some damage here. I mean, this game's turning around a little bit. Kranich draws a blank here. Jab's in the driver's seat.
What's a blank, though?
Clockwork Gnome.
Yeah, that one's not a blank. That one's going to end this game. Yeah. Kranich, 6 extra damage off of Boombots just by attacking. Gets 0 damage to face off of the Death Rattle effects. But still enough to end this game.
Hold on, I was going to say, I for a moment had a relapse of yesterday where Kranich disconnected once or twice when he just didn't, you know, kill Jab.
Stress syndrome.
Oh man, Kranich.
Oh, Kranich, where are you at?
Yeah,
Frost bolting Jab's face for the win. That's where he's at. Kranich can take a 1-0 lead in this match. Mech Mage getting it done in game number 1, and even despite the fact that his early game felt like it was a little bit stifled, the big thing for me was just that Jab had no way to answer boom bots at the end of the game. 2 1-1s Jab couldn't deal with.